All right, it's time for Yogi and the BeachMan. Hi, I'm Jim the Yogi.
And I'm Rick Beach the BeachMan.
We're two Michigan transplants now living in Southwest Florida.
In fact, we're cousins born in 1964, just a month apart.
I like to meditate.
And I like to play bass in a band.
I'm into chanting Om.
And I'm into throwing down some classic rock.
But together, we're on a mission
to promote people that are helping other people.
We want to make the world a better place.
One conversation at a time.
So sit back,
turn up the volume,
and get ready to laugh.
Because we like to have fun
while we spread the love.
Interviewing lovely people, yes, we have fun.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Yogi and the BeachMan. Today we are with Olivier Mankondo. Olivier is a professional speaker, author, and a wellness health coach. Welcome, Olivier. Or should I say welcome back?
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
Really good to see you again. When I saw you last week or so, I saw you're back on the schedule. I was like, cool. Be good to talk to him again.
Yeah. For sure. I've been really excited and waiting for this. So just to recap a little bit, for those that might not have heard your last or first episode with us, I should say. So you were in your native land in Africa and then moved to South Africa, I believe, and then to England and went from a native kind of diet to a Western diet, gained a lot of weight, got unhealthy. The doctors want to put you on meds. You're like, no way. Got into karate, didn't really find that helping you. And then Sadhguru, you saw on television, said if you want to heal yourself of these conditions, to go on a plant-based diet. And you went for it. Is that correct?
Yes, that's exactly what I did. And just because of that, I was able to reverse all my chronic diseases. I was able to lose 77 pounds. And I've been able as well to reverse my aging process because for the time being, I'm 55 and yeah.
Yeah, and you look so young. What were your chronic diseases?
Yeah, so I was suffering from high blood pressure, massive headaches every day or every other day. And in fact, I had to have some painkillers in my wallet all the time because of that. I had dandruff, chest pain, back pain, abscesses, and a lot of dental problem as well because of my bad eating habits. So usually until midnight, I would still have my bottle of Coca-Cola with some biscuits, some cakes and stuff like that. And because of that, I had lots of problem with my teeth. And every 2 to 3 months, I had to see the dentist. And just like you said, because of my high blood pressure, I went to see the doctor. And they told me that there was nothing else they could do but to give me some medication. And even though I didn't know what I know now, but instinctively I said, no, I don't want that. Just like to say, I went to do karate, it didn't work. And then I just saw Sadhguru on YouTube. And he said that by just eating animal product, stopping eating animal product, it was possible to reverse 70% of the chronic diseases. And I just did that. And that's why
I love that.
now,
and you know, he's one of my favorite gurus too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the past 9 years, I've not been sick a single day. And for the past 10 years, I've not taken a single pill.
That's beautiful. I love that. And I applaud you for the courage, because a lot of people, you know, they just absolutely believe in what their doctors say. And when they got to be on a pill, they just accept it and they're on it for life, you know?
Well, there's two ways of thinking now. You know, I think things are changing. You're having a big influence in that, along with, you know, many like you and folks that we have on the podcast, that people are waking up to the basic evils of the pharmaceutical industries and big medicine, and you're swinging in another path that kind of is almost taboo to them.
Yeah, exactly, because the way we've been told is that when you are sick, you just need to go and see the doctors, and the doctors, they've got only two solutions: either they give you medication or they operate you. That's the only two things that they know. But when they don't even put into consideration that the diet play a very big role, because for most doctors, even at medical school, they don't even study nutrition. It's like, for example, you're a mechanic and you don't even know anything about the fuel. And that doesn't make any sense. And that's why when you take medication, what it does, it only suppresses the symptoms. That's all it does. It's like, for example, let's say you are in your car and you've got a light in the dashboard which is telling you that you've got a leak, oil leak. And basically what you do, you take the car to the garage and the mechanics just take a fuse out, and on the dashboard, there's no lights anymore. And it tells you that the car has been fixed. And that's exactly what the medication does. It will only suppress the symptom. You will not feel feel the pain, and you will think that, oh, I'm okay to go. But the disease will not continue in silence. Because what people need to understand is that when you have symptoms, it's the way that the body is talking to you. The body is telling you that, hey, you need to do something. But when you take the medication, it suppresses all that dialogue with your body. And you think that, oh, I'm not in pain anymore, so everything must be going well. And when you do that, it's like with the car, the example that I gave with the car, you take out the fuse, the oil will still continue to leak. And one day the engine will stop and the car will be good for the scrapyard. And that's exactly like us. You take medication and at some point the body will not be able to take it no more. And maybe you will have, I don't know, heart attack or something like that, or you just die. And that's what people need to understand, that there's a way out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily have to take medication.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're a huge proponent of the plant-based diet. Do you ever get any pushback on that from anybody or different organizations? Or even doctors?
Yes, especially the doctors.
Really?
The doctors are, yes. The doctors, it's unbelievable what they do. And for example, I will just give you an example that happened to my family. I remember 2 or 3 years ago, my son was feeling a little bit unwell in the sense that he had pain in his bones. And basically, I told him that, okay, we can go and see a physiotherapist. So we went over there. He's starting to follow some physiotherapy session. And I think after 4 sessions, he was already feeling well. But the physiotherapist said, okay, you need to do some blood test. So he wants to do some blood test. And I remember he did the blood test. It was in the morning. And around midnight, the doctor called me and he said, yeah, his calcium is very low, and we need to take him straight away to the doctors, to the hospital. And I said, no, what's the problem? He said, no. He will, if you let him like that, he's going to have a heart attack. And for me,
what did they say was low? His
Whoa.
potassium?
Calcium.
Oh, calcium.
His calcium.
Okay.
Yeah, his calcium was very low.
Okay.
And he said that he's going to have a heart attack. And what happened is that for me, I thought that, no, he's not going to have a heart attack because the way they say that his calcium is low is compared to people who drink milk or eat animal product and all that. So I refused. And after that, to cut a long story short, they called the police. The police came to my house. They wanted to remove to take my son.
Wow.
And stuff like that.
How old was he at the time?
He was 16. And because of that, they said that that was just what saved us. Because he was 16, they said that no, they can't take him by force and stuff like that. So for 18 months,
what country was this in?
In England.
Okay.
I'm in the UK. So right. For 18 months, I was every month I had a meeting with 2 doctors, 3 nurses, the people from my son's schools, and I had another kid, another boy. He was at the time he was 11, and he was put as well on that as well. So for 18 months, I had to argue with the doctors. And finally, when my son was about to turn 18, they just dropped the case. And up to this day, he's now 20. he still not had any heart attack. So
well, clearly when you're 16 years old, you can make your own choices. You know, if he wanted to go out and get a hamburger, I don't know if there's McDonald's in the UK, but you know, he certainly would have.
Yeah.
I don't if he's able to make adult choices, or not that that's even an adult choice, but a lifestyle choice, right? I mean, you probably were you the type of dad? I don't think you are, but were you the type of dad said no, you can't eat meat? He made the choice not to, right?
Yeah, you make the choice. So yeah, so basically what happened is that in my house, I told them that because when they saw all the benefits that I was getting from going through the plant-based nutrition, I sat them down, I explained to them, and yes, they went to it. They adopted it, and now they can see themselves all the benefits. But I'm not there to force them. So, for example, that son, his name is David. So, for example, now when he goes out, if he decide to eat meat, that is his problem. Is old enough to decide. I can't police them. But my problem was with the doctor is that they just wanted to force us to basically have some injection with calcium and stuff like that. And I found it very bizarre. And up to this day, like I've said, they told us that if because of his calcium was too low, he will have a heart attack. And up to this day, is still fine. Another example is my brother.
Can I pause you for 1 second there?
Yeah.
Because I really want to applaud you for one, recognizing that those levels of calcium are set for the standard American diet, those high on dairy. And throughout time, the blood test levels of what's normal have been changing by the medical community. And they're changing them because as people are getting sicker, their levels in these different things are lower or higher. So they're, instead of saying that everybody's below average or above average in these different things that are so skewed by this poor diet, that now they're just changing what's normal. So you could be pretty sick, you know, or obese or have too many high triglycerides or whatever, and they'll say, well, that's still within the normal range because it's changed to a more unhealthy level.
Well, when they took his, I don't know how they measure calcium in a calcium test, but how did they? There were others in that control group, right? How did he compare to you and your other son and other members of your family that are on plant-based?
Yeah. So what they did, they just took some blood sample, and they compared that with people who are not. That's what they did, because the example that I wanted to give you as well is that my brother as well is on a plant-based nutrition, and he came to the state. He wanted to do what is it called again? Intermittent. He wanted to do a fasting. He came to us and he wanted to do a fasting. And when they took his blood sample, they saw that his calcium was very low and his B12 was very low as well. And automatically they told him that, no, you can't fast anymore because we can't do that. And because of that, you are really, really in danger. So he had to stop with the fasting. He came back to the UK. Up to this day, it's been 2 years now. He's still fine. So when they do all these tests, they compare that with people who eat meat, dairy product, and all these things.
They didn't suggest to test you guys and your family and do a comparative of your whole family.
Right, because that would have been the only way. I mean, it seems to me that would have been the first thing to do. Okay, if your son is, say normal is between 80 and 100 and he's at 40, and your argument would be, hey, all of us are, if you're on plant-based, your normal is 40. That's kind of what you were saying, correct?
Yeah.
So did they test you guys and to see what your numbers were to validate your theory?
No, they didn't. They didn't do it. No.
Okay.
So there was really no. Okay. So now we're back to the only argument
a lot of logic
you had.
in medicine.
What's that?
There's not always a lot of logic in medicine.
Well, that would have been.
That's a really good point.
That would have been a great defense, for you. Hey, just take it, look at ours, and if he's low compared to us, maybe I'll listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
just more evident.
Exactly.
But I see what you're saying. Compared to me, my numbers are going to be different than someone who eats like you. That's for sure.
Yeah, so I've had lots of things like that. For myself, for example, in 2018, I went to have a blood test as well. And they told me that my potassium level was too high. And they told me that because of that, maybe I have a problem with my kidneys. So I went for a second blood test, and my potassium level was still high. And they kept telling me that you've got a problem with your kidneys. And the problem is I eat bananas every single day, and bananas are full of potassium. And up to this day, we're in 2025, I still don't have any problem with my kidneys. So all the time when they do this test, they compare that with people who don't eat like me. And I think that's wrong.
And once again, why wouldn't, do you think it would be a good idea to, like, now that you have high potassium, they're saying this to you, hey, let me check my son's potassium levels. Let's see where I'm at compared to this, when everybody's feeling good and doing well. That would be, it sounds like some great numbers to have for you and your family to compare, not only against each other, but, as you guys get older and things change.
If his son's having the same ratio of bananas every day.
Yeah, but when you look, for example,
there's always going to be the environmental factors will always change, because that's always going to happen. But at least you'll have a base. It's not like you're doing a 100-person study or 1,000. 2 or 3 or 4 people.
Yeah, but if his is high because he's eating a lot of bananas, and his son doesn't eat very many bananas, that's all I'm saying.
But we don't know that, do we?
Right.
Because they're not.
Yeah, but if I have to say, for example, if you look at my son, they told him that his calcium level was low. My brother as well, they told him that his calcium level was low. Both of them are vegans. So
vegans, yeah.
Both of them are on plant-based nutrition. So my brother, when he came to the state, they told him that his calcium level was low. My son here in the UK, they told him as well that his calcium was low. So
there
both
are
of them
plants
have
that
low
will help
calcium.
boost your calcium. I think stinging nettle is one of them. You can make stinging nettle tea, and that will help boost calcium levels. Because there are certain levels of calcium, potassium, sodium that your internal organs are going to function best at, regardless if you're on a vegan or potassium could actually be very dangerous for the heart if the levels are off.
Yeah.
So there are things that natural things that can boost those or lower those. Like if your potassium's too high, maybe eat a few less bananas a week,
So for example, if you if we have to look at the calcium, for example, if you eat loads of stuff like kale, broccoli, chia seed, they are full of calcium. But the point is, I think the body can function correctly with a certain level of calcium. But when you eat a lot of animal product, a lot of dairy product, when they do the test, they look at the calcium that's circulating in the blood.
Right.
That's what they're doing. But for example, if you are low in calcium, because your body is very intelligent, it's going to take some calcium from your bones and dump that in the bloodstream.
Yeah.
So always the body knows what to do. So my point is, when they say that your calcium is low, they look at the calcium in the blood. But the calcium, normally when it's used, it doesn't stay in the blood, it goes into the organs and stuff like that. But when they do the test, they measure the calcium in the blood. And I think it's not going to give you a true, it's not going to reflect really
it's a snapshot, especially of a fasting diet. It's just a snapshot of that moment in time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Have you listened to the Joe Rogan podcast with Sadhguru?
No. I've not listened to that. No.
I think you'll love it for a number of reasons. But one of the things he talks about is how less nutrient dense our food is getting because our soil is so depleted of nutrients. And he talks about it being a worldwide crisis that, we're not going to be able to sustain ourselves from the plants we eat because there's not going to be enough nutrients in it because we're not taking care of our soil. It's fascinating.
I think it's a good point because of all the chemicals that they put in the soil to make the food grow very quickly and stuff like that. So yes, I can see
pesticides.
Pesticide and all that. Yeah.
Some of the forever chemicals like PFAS and different things like that. You know, talking about your blood and the blood test, it makes me wonder, being on a vegan diet, if your body's metabolizing a lot quicker and much differently than somebody full of dairy, which does bog down the systems and make things kind of sticky. So I'm wondering if that calcium does stay in the body longer for someone that's eats a lot of dairy and maybe passes through. So if you're fasting, maybe it washes right out quickly. I don't know. It's just a thought I had in my mind just now.
Yeah, yes, I think I would imagine that if you drink a lot of dairy or eat a lot of dairy product, yes, I think you will have it's gonna stay longer in your system. But when you for example, like me, you eat stuff like kale, broccoli, and stuff like that. The body, first of all, this food is yes, they've got calcium, and the body can really use those calcium efficiently and get rid of what it doesn't need, basically. So I would imagine that when you are having a lot of dairy product and all that, it will stay for longer in your system.
Makes sense. Any thoughts, Mr. Beach?
No, I'm just thinking about it.
Okay.
Because
Oh, and I've got some big news for you. Remember the last time you were on, we had the big discussion about microwaves and how they change the molecular structure of the food?
Yeah.
So I sent him over some studies. Guess what he did?
I moved it off my kitchen counter.
I thought you took it right out to the trash.
I did. No, I
Oh.
put it in the garage.
Oh.
And then when Carrie's son came home for holiday last Christmas, it came out of the garage, but it's still out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
It's in the off room. I don't use it. I use the air fryer. But I've also heard recently that the chemicals in like the nonstick coating in an air fryer for warming stuff up, you know, they leach out and get in your food. And then I stumbled across a glass binned air fryer.
Oh, nice.
Which won't have all those nonstick coatings with those type of carcinogens and whatever. So I'm looking at it, invested in one of those.
Very cool.
Because I pretty much heat up everything in the air fryer now. It's not that it doesn't take much longer than the microwave did.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you got rid of your microwave, because yes, the microwave is very bad for the human mechanism, but most people, they don't even know that, and it's sad. It's sad, and people poison themselves without even knowing. So I'm really glad that you were able to get rid of that. Yeah.
And where do you shop, man? Because you are dressed really snappy tonight. You look fantastic. I really like that jacket and shirt.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That's good stage wear right there.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. You look great up on the stage.
I know.
Do you wear that when you're speaking?
Usually when I speak, I have a jacket with a tie and stuff like that. Yeah.
Very cool.
See, I would wear something like that at a gig if it wasn't 100 degrees all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very hot down here.
Yeah. Like right now it's 90 some degrees today. So we don't get much weather cooperative. It's always hot.
Yeah. So you traveled to Singapore recently, correct?
Yes.
You want to tell us about that and the convention?
Yeah, so basically I went to the International Nutrition Conference in Singapore. So it was, it was last month. It was between the 26th and the 29th of March. Yeah, so it was very good. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I did a very good presentation. Yeah, I really liked it. Yeah.
Did you hear some of the other speakers as well?
Yes, I heard a lot of speakers, but I didn't know them before. So it was there were speakers from Australia, from India, from United States. So there were lots of speakers. Yeah.
Very nice. What kind of treasures did you pick out of some of those talks?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, what kind of things did you get out of the other talks that really stuck with you?
The talks, for example, there was a talk from a guy from a professor from the UK. Yeah, he was talking about the way people get the artery clogged up by the food that they eat and stuff like that. And what he was saying is that when you, he was able to demonstrate that when you eat a lot of animal products, it's going to have an adverse reaction on your arteries. It will start clogging up and stuff like that, and that's very, very, very bad. And basically, he was saying that what they was trying to do is to find some because he's a professor. So basically, they was trying to see if they were able to find some medication to try and fight that. But he was not really talking much about the nutrition, even though he said that when you change your nutrition, it's going to have a drastic effect on the way the artery will be able to repair themselves.
Yeah, I like pomegranate. It's supposed to be really good for blockage in arteries. Like,
yeah,
eating a high pomegranate diet would seem like the first thing you'd want to start.
Yeah, that's very good. And for example, as well, when you eat, like you said, the pomegranate and I've heard as well the grapes as well is good as well for that fact as well.
Yeah.
But it's almost impossible to find, and when I find them, I do purchase them, but it's almost impossible to find organic grapes.
Ooh.
And when you can find them, they're good, but they're expensive.
I've been getting them delivered to the house weekly.
Really?
Have you ever had a moondrop grape?
I saw them, but I thought there was some GMO.
They're not.
Really?
Yeah, they're not GMO.
Usually something with a name on it like that, like
Mm-hmm.
Angelo or something, some genetically inbred thing.
Yeah, they're not genetically modified.
Okay.
They cross-pollinated to get them to that point, just like they've done with a lot of other vegetables.
Right, like hybrid.
Kind of, yeah. But oh my gosh, they're delicious.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. So I found I'm really been doing this plant-based diet thing, Olivia. I've got to tell you, it's just the more I hear it, the more excited I get about it, and the more change I've made. I'm down to, I was probably 50% meat, to be honest with you, last time you were on the show, and I'm probably down to 10% meat, maybe less. But I'm eating all fruits and vegetables, and they're coming from a farm. I found a farmer, actually my daughter found it for me, a farmer locally who grows all organic or pesticide-free fruits and vegetables. They get picked and delivered to your house. The delivery charge is $7, which is amazing. And she coordinates with a bunch of other farmers in the area. They're also growing this way. So everything you're getting is pesticide-free. It's picked that week. It's not sitting in the grocery store and sprayed, with whatever they keep from the food from going bad or discoloring or bugs getting on it. They don't have all those toxins. And it's amazingly delicious. My wife and I have been so excited about our food from the farm.
Yeah, you sent me that email yesterday for either that or another one, and I forgot. I saw it, meant to do it last night, and forgot about it. I'll do it as soon as we finish up.
Yeah, if you're local, a lot of our listeners are in Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte. I highly recommend you check out Southwest Florida Produce. There's a little plug for them, because you got to get hooked up with somebody that's really growing the food right.
And you're gonna spend it's
cheaper. Our bill's been less. It's amazing.
Cheaper.
I can't even believe it.
It is cheaper.
Yeah.
And since doing that, how are you feeling now? How are you feeling now?
More vibrant, more energy, less aches and pains joint wise. Before that, I was coming home from pickleball and feeling like I needed a nap after 3 hours of exercise. Now I got done with pickleball yesterday. I went around, ran our errands. I went shopping. I did all this stuff. I came home. I'm busy and doing things, and not even thinking about taking a nap. So
yeah,
it feels good.
Yeah,
less
exactly. Because exactly when you eat a lot of animal product, dairy product, and stuff like that, your body needs to work overtime. Your body needs to really to work overtime to get rid of all that. Because, for example, when you eat animal product, it gets transformed into uric acid, and that's what gives people gout and stuff like that. And your body needs to really work to overwork itself. Your kidneys have to work full time and all that. And but when you eat, for example, fruit, vegetables, legumes, grain, nuts, and seed, the body doesn't have to work that hard. And because of that, you feel lots of energy, not mental clarity and stuff like that. And I don't know if I said it in the other episode, is that when you eat animal product, because it takes too long in the system, it starts rotting. And because of that, the body it started producing loads and loads of bacteria. And the body has to work very hard to try and keep those number of bacteria very low. And because of that, that's why people feel tired all the time. But when you eat all this plant-based nutrition, the body doesn't have to do that. And the digestion is very easy. So the body doesn't have to produce loads and loads of energy to digest all this food. And that's why you feel vibrant, you feel with lots of energy and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Less flagellants too. All that putrid meat sitting in there, it starts off gassing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you were in Singapore, were you specifically talking on a plant-based diet? I know I saw one sign in the background of one of your talks, and it said prebiotics and probiotics. So I didn't know if you spoke on that or if that was a different conference.
No, that was a different conference.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there was two conferences going on at the same time. So one was, we were in one room, and for the prebiotic and stuff was in a different room.
I see. Because that's, they talk about that for gut health. I mean, everybody's talking gut health now. That's the buzzword, making sure you have the right gut bacteria to digest. In fact, I even heard it said differently the other day, which kind of blew my mind. It was like, we don't feed ourselves, we feed the bacteria in our guts. And that's what processes the food and, makes it usable for us.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, for example, when you eat lots of fruit, vegetables, legumes, grain, nuts, and seed, it's got lots of fiber. And this fiber are the food for all these gut bacteria. And when you don't eat lots of plant-based food, basically your microbiome will not be very good and stuff like that. And what people need to understand as well is that 70% of the chronic diseases start in the gut. So when you have good gut bacteria, basically you'll be off. You're not going to get sick very often. So it's very, very important to take care of that.
And do you promote fermented things like kimchi and sauerkraut for gut health?
Not really, but if people are interested in doing that, but for me, I don't see a problem of that. But personally, I don't really recommend that in my coaching and stuff.
Okay.
Because I like to recommend things that I do myself. So basically, what I try to ask people is to eat lots of fruit, vegetables, legumes, grain, nuts, and seed, and the body will take care of itself.
Okay, so fruits, vegetables, seeds, and nuts for gut health?
Yeah.
No particular like veggies or something like that, or just?
Yeah, so like I said, the fruit, vegetables, legumes, grain, nuts, and seed. So basically all those colorful food, broccoli, chia seed, flaxseed, all these things will be very good for the gut health.
Okay. Do you recommend soaking the chia seed first?
Basically, the way I eat that, just for example, when I do my salad, I will just take a little bit of chia seed or flaxseed, and I will sprinkle that in my salad. So I don't really soak them. The stuff that I soak is, for example, the beans. Yeah, the beans that I soak.
Okay. Yeah. So you're getting dry beans, soaking them. Not out of the can, huh?
No, I don't I don't eat the beans out of the can. No, I try really to avoid all the stuff that comes from cans.
Yeah. I read somewhere anecdotally here, I read somewhere a year or two back that canned green beans are the most toxic vegetable.
Wow.
They absorb more of this. That they absorb a bunch of stuff. So it's
Like PBA is one of them, isn't it?
BPA.
BPA.
Bisphenol A. That's high. They're high, especially BPA
Yeah.
is the highest of in green beans.
Hmm.
So stay away from the canned green beans. Not
Yeah.
even the green bean casserole.
Yeah, we get fresh or frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better because all the stuff that come from cans, they are not very good because when you see all this food, for example, they can produce a can of beans and you eat that after 3 years, for example. So all the stuff that they put the preservative, the coloring, all these things are very bad for the human mechanism, and they are all dead food. You need vibrant food. You need live food. That's what people need. But when you eat stuff from the can, they are just dead food.
Mm-hmm. I like that distinction between live food and dead food because that's something we don't think about often. We need to eat live food, not dead food.
Yeah.
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 And it doesn't take a rocket science to figure out which food's alive and which food's dead. I mean, if somebody just said, I'm going to only eat food that's alive, you know, they're on the right path.
So in the vegan vegetarian world, as compared to the carnivore world, where do fish stand in all this? Is it
Yeah. So
what kind of
basically, a fish, because a lot of people, when they look at fish, they think that fish is a lot better than meat and all that. But the problem is when you look at the bowel transit time, it still cause problem because, for example, if you eat a piece of fruit, it will take 3 to 4 hours to pass through a system. You eat raw vegetables, it will take between around 12 hours to pass through a system. You eat cooked vegetables, it will take between 24 and 30 hours to pass through a system. But if you eat meat, fish, or chicken, it takes 72 hours or 3 days to pass through a system. And for example, if you take a piece of meat, you leave that outside during the summer, and you come back after 3 days, that piece of meat will be in a rotting state. And when you look at internal temperature, it's something like 98 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that, or 36 degrees centigrade. So basically it's hot. So because the meat, or in that example, the fish will take 3 days to pass through our system, it will start rotting inside our guts. And because of that, it will create, it will be, the fish as well has got no fiber and it creates constipation. And you will see that there are people who will spend 3 days, 4 days, even a week without going to the toilet. And because of that, all the fecal matter, all the toxin will be reabsorbed into the bloodstream. And that's why people suffer from high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer, Parkinson, and all the autoimmune diseases where the body destroys itself, like the lupus, the psoriasis, the rheumatoid arthritis. So fish, it's exactly the same like meat and chicken.
But it's a little disingenuous to compare your digestive system with like leaving the piece of meat out in the sun for 3 days. I'm sure that there's other aspects that go into the decay or degradation or rotting of food, like oxygen, for example, which I would think that in your gut that is less, right? You would know better than me.
Probably.
I would think that oxygen would be a prime mover in that you would have to have it in order to have like rotting to occur when you say it that loosely. But
it's more like an analogy.
Right.
That's the way I take it.
I get that. But you have your stomach acids. So as things move down the digestive tract, and I'm asking this question because this is what I've always thought, and I'm not an expert on the digestive system for sure. But that's in different states, and a lot of the nutrients are being pulled out of that at the same time as it's moving down and through you, even though
mostly through in the small intestine. When it gets to the large intestine, that's a lot of times when you get the blockage of the buildup and that decay that he's talking about, and then it starts to get absorbed through the lining of the large intestine.
From your stomach
to the small intestine,
right,
to the large intestine.
And the small intestine is what pulls out most of the nutrients and where most of the
microvilli in there.
Digestive action occurs.
Yes.
Because if you put in a pound of anything into your system, a pound of beef, a pound of green beans, how much gets absorbed and burned up in the body as heat. How much goes through you out of 1 pound? Do you get rid of 80% of it?
That's going to be based on your metabolism. Everybody's going to be different. Even you know, the amount of time, like some people, they eat a lot of meat, but they pass it through pretty quickly. And other people, there are people that go 3-4 days without pooping, which blows my mind.
See, because
I'm like,
I don't
eat
think I
3
keep
times a day, you
anything
poop 3 times a day.
I don't think I keep anything in me for 3 days.
Yeah.
Because I know if I eat a steak today or whatever, I mean, but my question still was this: what? I mean, am I thinking 50% or 90%? Do you have any idea? I don't know. Do you know?
But I think it's going to differ with everybody.
I'm sure, but it's got to be kind of a generality of okay, 80 to 90.
Well, I would say
going to
this.
be 40 to 90.
I would say this. There's a big difference between when you have a lot of meat in your stool and when you have a lot of vegetables in your stool. Right? So it seems like less of that meat is getting absorbed in the body compared to those vegetables.
I have no idea.
Well, vegetable or fruit is like anywhere from what 60 to 80% water,
Right.
and that's definitely getting taken out of it.
I would
so
think.
there's a lot less passing, and plus whatever else from the plant was absorbed, and then you've got your
so you would have a
fiber,
lot
which
better
is going to pass
absorption
through.
on like, and I'm thinking like tomatoes or green beans, which are mainly water, right? Well, more so in a tomato. So at least, I mean, I've got to think a tomato's got to be 50% water.
Probably higher, probably 70, 80.
So of that a pound of tomato, you're probably only gonna get rid of 30% of it.
Yeah, or meat, you're probably gonna be getting rid of 70%, I would guess.
I don't know. I'm gonna find out though. No, it's kind of interesting because I never even thought about it like that.
Are you gonna look it up? Is that what you mean? Or I mean, how are you gonna find out?
No, well, yeah, I'm gonna use Grok AI, probably.
Yes.
I'm really enjoying conversations with Grok. You can just have them and tighten down on it.
I'm on Grok every day, having all kinds of cool conversations with an AI.
Have you delved into the vegan AI community?
No.
It's interesting. Well, I haven't been on the vegan side, but on the other AI things, you can literally have a conversation and delve down. So if and you're literally talking to the smartest person you'll ever talk to because they can
resource anything at a moment's notice.
Right. So if we were having, if we had that fourth Grok AI person listening to this conversation, we would know the answers to what we just were talking about. You know,
yeah,
an average of 83.4% of sirloin steaks grown in Montana,
but steaks grown in Florida are different.
Steaks grown in Florida have a higher.
And it depends on your cooking temperature and how well done the meat is.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's it's a wealth of it. So don't get left behind on the AI train because we're older guys.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many things that go through the day, and I just, to myself, I'm wondering about something. You don't have to wonder anymore, you know, with an AI in your pocket, and you can just literally talk into the microphone, and it'll give you all the information you want on anything
in conversational form, like you were literally like we're talking, asking you a question. You're the expert. You're telling us the answer.
Yeah. Well, Grok, I don't pay for the Grok Premium, do you?
No, but it works.
It gives you voice back?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice. I haven't gotten that yet. I always have to read my answers. I believe you. It told me to get that.
Let's ask Grok a question.
It'll make images too. You just tell it, make me an image of this or that. It just creates one. It's amazing.
Yeah, so it's getting really, really better, this AI.
Yeah.
What are the advantages of a plant-based diet?
So what's next? What's coming up in your future? Do you have more conferences, more public speaking?
Yes. So basically, I've got some, I need to go into Tunisia, where I'm going to speak. I'm also in a process of coming to Texas.
Nice.
I'm just
shoot across the Gulf of America and come and visit us.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've got something that I'm working through to give more talks and stuff like that.
What part of Texas you going
to? I don't know yet.
I hope it's Austin. I hear that's a really cool place.
Yeah, I will have to check.
Yeah.
because what I've just remembered is just Texas, but I don't know exactly where it is.
Mm-hmm. And you're doing a lot with Facebook and Instagram and promoting a lot. I love that because it's getting that information out there. How many people are you working with regularly or sporadically to help them move through this diet or into the diet?
Yeah, so basically what I would like, I don't like to have too many people. So usually work with 5-10 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's almost privatized, which is nice. They're not just, people
Yeah.
aren't just a number or,
Yeah.
Very good.
Because I don't want to burden myself with lots of work and stuff like that. I like to be really relaxed, and that's why I rather have 5-10 people at a time, and that works better for me.
Yeah. Now, I asked you about pushback before, and you told us about, the problem with the medical community pushing back on you guys. But what about personal pushbacks from like some of your clients when you're suggesting they do this or that? Is it sometimes hard for them? What kind of, almost, I guess, negative thinking or limited thinking are you hearing back, or any at all?
Yeah, so usually for people who are really sick, who are, for example, they've had a long-term chronic disease, and maybe they've been to the doctors and they've got no solution and stuff like that. For these people, usually they will listen and they will do exactly what I will tell them to do.
Yeah,
But
they're
for other
motivated.
people, but for other people, usually the problem mostly that I encounter is, for example, let's say I've got a client and they live, maybe they are married or something like that, and maybe the partner doesn't really is not on board with that. That's usually where the problem comes, because, for example, I will tell them this and that, they will go back, and maybe the partner will not be on board with that, and that's where it clashes a little bit. So that's mostly the problem. So it's usually better when, even if both people are not following the same the same plan base, but if the other one can at least support the other, then it's a little it's better.
Yeah, it's interesting because if the one person was sick, the other person would be like, "Yeah, I'll help you. I'll do whatever you need," But it's funny because when we don't show a lot of signs and symptoms of sickness, I think it's harder to make the shift. It's like I'll be fine, or I can eat this, or I can eat that. I don't need too much of that. A lot of people aren't even aware of some of the toxins that they're eating and how much of them. Because they don't really keep a food journal. They just kind of have this thought in their head like, "Oh, I eat good, I eat clean. I'm good." You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of
So
lost my
usually
train of
people
thought.
who are really sick are the people who listen more, who are really on board, and they really want to get rid of what's disturbing them. But for people who are just at the beginning, maybe they can just not really bothered. Yeah.
If you take any 10 of your clients, customers, how many stick with it, say 1 year, 3 years, 5 years down the road?
How many stick?
How many stick with the diet long
Okay,
term?
okay. Usually, for, like I said, if I have to look, for people who are really sick and they get better, usually they tend to follow that really in a good way. And for people who really don't want to, I mean, the best way to say is that when people, you tell them that you will be completely vegan, you will not have any animal product, usually there's a resistance, because maybe if they got invited in a family gathering and stuff like that, maybe they will feel a little bit odd. But now what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to tell people that if you cannot stop completely with animal product, you can still continue. For example, you can still maybe eat once a week or maximum twice a week. And when you say that to people, then they can breathe a little bit, and they are okay with that. So I've tried to ease up a little bit. Instead of telling people that you need to completely stop with all animal product now, I'm telling them that you can, if you cannot stop completely, once, maximum twice a week, and you use a very small portion, you use that as a condiment. And when you say that to people, then they are fine with that, and they can continue with that lifestyle. But it's difficult for people to stop completely. Then it's difficult for them to stick up long term. But when they can still eat a little bit, then they are fine with that.
Yeah, I don't think I can go 100% plant-based, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm going to be sticking around 80-85% because I do like to have some eggs occasionally, and I do love my cheese, you know?
Yeah.
So there will. I know I can't go 100%, but I think that even 80%, even 70% is way better than what most people are doing. So.
Exactly, because every time when you reduce your consumption of animal product, dairy product, and processed food, you will get your health will get better. So the more the more you decrease this product, the better your health will get. So I'm not asking people to go 100% plant-based, but if they can reduce that considerably, they will still have a lot of their health will get better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to talk about fish that we talked about earlier. Also, I don't know if you've seen or if you've seen, Rick, the documentary "Farming the Seas." Most people don't know that almost 100%. It's very rare to get wild caught fish in a restaurant, and most of the fish you're consuming in stores is not wild caught. It's factory farmed, and the stuff they're feeding this fish is literally often toxic. So they're literally taking toxins and feeding the fish that we're eating from the restaurant when we order fish, or most of what's sold in the stores, farm raised fish. Now, they even got so bold in is they kind of advertise it now, like farm raised, like it's a great thing.
Yeah.
know, people don't realize the toxins and this terrible thing. I almost wonder sometimes, like, the rich people on the planet, it's like, oh man, we got all this from this thing that we're making. We have all this byproduct of toxins that we just can't dump into the water or the sea. What do we do with it? Oh, let's make food out of it.
Let's put it in let's put it in the water supply and tell them that it keeps your teeth good.
Yeah,
it's like the fluoride.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like I don't know. It's like something out of some weird sci-fi music or movie that we live in. It's like, who makes these decisions to take toxins and put them in our food in the first place?
But like you could buy, like Megan, my daughter's Megan, she buys every not probably once every 6 weeks or so, she'll order a big batch of food of fresh caught salmon and cod from Alaska. And that's stuff they literally catch it on Tuesday and it's in Florida on Thursday, and
that's awesome.
And there's a boat that went out and caught it, not a farm.
Right. So. Yeah. Wasn't grown in a
but it's $25-$30 a pound too, instead of $8.99.
Yeah. Poisons are cheaper.
There's no doubt about that. Processed foods and that kind of junk.
Yeah. So what else do you want to share with us today? You took us on some interesting sidetracks last time about the microwave and other things. Anything new that's hitting your consciousness that you want to let people know they shouldn't do or should do?
Yeah. So for example, when we look at the animal product that people eat and all that, even though I was saying that the bowel transit time is too long and that's why it's rotting inside the gut and all that, but when we have to look at the metaphysical side, for example, when you look at all these animals, before they die, they go through a lot of suffering. They go through a lot of negative emotions like fear, anxiety, hatred, and all these things. And basically, just before they die, they release a lot of toxins. And as well, energy doesn't die. So basically, when the animal dies, all these negative emotions will be stuck in their flesh. And when we eat that, all these negative emotion will be transferred to us. And that's why you will see, for example, in the world, there's lots of anxiety, lots of fear, lots of hatred, and because of all that. So that's another way of seeing things. And that's why, for example, for me, 100%, I don't like to eat animal product because of all these negative emotion that they can be transferred into me. And yeah, so that's what I can say as well.
I want to come up with a slogan: vegan power for peace.
Yeah, exactly.
Peaceful to the animals. You're not, encouraging people to, or resulting in people becoming more peaceful. I like that.
Yeah, definitely. So that's another way of seeing things as well. Yeah. And for people who read the Bible, when it says you shall not kill, it doesn't only apply for us human beings. It's applied for all the creation. And that's why, for example, I don't kill any animals. I don't kill insects. I just leave them alone.
Sure if that's, I don't know if I buy in on that one there.
The Bible?
That thou shalt not kill means don't.
I'm poking at it.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you a little pushback on that one there, Olivier.
Why you're saying the Bible
why
doesn't
is
say
that?
you should not kill?
No, well, of course it does in the Ten Commandments. That's the only two orders in the Ten Commandments, right? Don't kill and don't steal.
Okay.
Right?
Where's the pushback, I'm asking?
Oh, he said that thou shalt not kill not only means people, it means animals and whatnot. And I don't believe that to be the case.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe
so
something
you think
else.
that it's
I thought
okay
you're
to kill
substantiating it with
animals?
something.
Pardon me?
You think that it's okay to kill animals then?
Yes, I do.
And why is that?
Because we eat them. Because we need them for food. I mean, I don't think I'm not a hunter, but I advocate, and nothing I enjoyed eating more than like a freshly shot deer up in Michigan, venison, because I know where that came from, and I know it's not going to have any additional added hormones and whatnot. And I wish I didn't have to participate in factory farming to get protein. I don't see myself not always becoming, being an omnivore, so to speak. So, I mean, animals have been a food source for humans for as long as we've existed. Is that not?
But one thing I'll push back on that.
I don't think that. I don't think that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think that animal has been food for us as long as we've been living, because when you look, for example, let's say they put you in a very big enclosure, okay? A very big enclosure. They put a cow inside that enclosure. They tell you that that cow, they give you no tools, no knife, nothing. And they tell you that that cow will be your food for the next 2 weeks. I'm sure you're not going to be able to eat that cow. But if it's food for us,
agreed.
How can you eat that?
Well, we're one of the only species, except for like some bird species or something, that are orangutans that use tools to aid in their life, right? There's there's not many animals that use tools, if any, other than humans. That's what separates us from those lower animal species. So, sure, if I'm starving, I'm gonna find a tool. I mean, if I'm locked in a cage with that cow and there's a stick there and a rock, I might just sharpen it and be able to kill that and figure it out. And
if you've got no fire, how are you going to eat that cow?
Listen, Olivia, I don't want to I'm not criticizing your lifestyle. I'm not. And I think it's amazing that you practice it. And and I respect the hell out of it. And because the proof is the way you look. Because I remember you telling us how old you are, and you look like you're in your early 30s. I mean, you just look phenomenal. So I buy into it. I just don't think I would ever participate in it. Now, if you want to come back at me, from a ethical viewpoint about animal killing, that's a totally different discussion, and that I'd love to have, but not right now. But I don't have any problem with, and I'm not certainly not criticizing, and I'm glad that you've had success with it and help other people along on this journey.
So you did say in another podcast that if you were diagnosed with something and this was your way out, going to a plant-based diet to heal yourself, that you would do it.
Okay. I recall, correct. If I had to get hardcore or
yeah. So it is, you said you would never do, I'm just saying,
okay,
there's a possibility.
Yeah, but the point that I was trying to make is that because you said that we've been eating animal since for a very long time, but my point was that we're starting to eat animals when we discover tools and the fire. Before that, we couldn't eat animals.
Well, okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
So for most of human history.
Yeah. And one of the things you said is that we need animals to eat.
Well,
but if you're plant-based diet, then
I
you
think
don't
I
need
was
animals
I was
as
answering
part of our
Olivier,
food.
why do we need to kill them?
Right.
And I said to eat them.
Yeah.
That would be the reason to kill them.
Yeah.
That's the question I was answering.
Right. And then after you said you need them to eat, like we need them to survive.
No, I didn't take it another step. I just said to eat them, and then I shut up, and you guys laughed because we need them for food. Because we need them for food. so I mean, that's where we are on that. I mean, once again, I'm not pushing back or disrespecting you in any way, Oliver. So, but that's fun. No, we should have started. You've been here 45 minutes ago. We'd have really had fun. We'd had a fun time throwing that back and forth.
For sure.
No, it all started with the Bible thing.
Exactly.
Right.
The do not kill.
Right.
You were giving some substance for why it only applies to humans in your mind.
Well, I don't think you should kill indiscriminately anything. Like I would never run over a squirrel just because I could.
All right.
Ever.
But if you're hungry in the morning, you might and take it home and eat it.
I'd have to be pretty hungry, but I know that let me put it to you this way. If this shit ever hit the fan, I have the skills and ability to feed me and keep a couple people eating too out of the creeks and rivers around here but that's what you'd become when your veggies aren't getting delivered. You'd probably be over there catching.
Slowly going to convert this property to a little
organic farm.
A little organic farm.
Perfect. That's awesome.
What do they call it? Food forest.
There you go. All right, Oliver.
Olivier.
Yeah.
Yeah. We really appreciate you coming on the show, spending time with us. Do you have any last thoughts?
Yes. What I can say is that when we are born on this earth, the most important thing that we have, it's our body, it's our temple, and we've only got one. So we need to make sure that we're in good health so that we can have a longer and fruitful life. And what I would like to tell people is that the way we've been told is that when you grow older, we need to be sick. But in my experience, I've seen that it's not the truth. If you eat the food biologically designed for the human mechanism, it's possible to live a disease-free life. We don't have to be sick. For example, you look at animals who live in the forest. For the most part of their lives, they don't get sick because they've got no vet over there, unless maybe they are wounded or something like that. And I think the same wisdom that are in these animals is the same wisdom that we got. So when we look at these animals, because they eat the food biologically designed for the system, and that's why they can live practically without being sick. And if we have to do that ourselves, it will be possible for us to live without being sick. And I'm an example of that. For the past 9 years, I've not been sick a single day, not even a headache. And for the past 10 years, I've not taken a single pill. And it's possible to live a disease-free life. We don't have to be sick. So that's why I would like to say to people.
Amen, brother. Hey, I got one more question. We got just to wrap up the hour here. I don't know about your spirituality or anything like that, or anything about that at all. But my question is, has it been affected or changed through as almost like a side effect of going plant-based? Have you noticed changes in yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Now I'm more spiritual, not religious, but more spiritual. I didn't even know that meditation existed. Now I meditate every single day. I do mindfulness. I try to be compassionate to people. So I've changed a lot in that sense. So I'm starting to look a little bit more into metaphysical stuff. Basically, I believe in reincarnation. I've done all these things, and this is the things that was not open to me before. I was still eating like everybody else. But for this, it has really, really opened the spiritual side of the thing. Yeah, definitely.
I've heard that from others, that getting more on a plant-based diet's opened them up spiritually, for sure. So,
yeah,
cool.
that's happened.
Glad that's happening for you as well.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, once again, thank you for being on the show. We really appreciate you. I'm hoping you're open to coming on again in the future, because I enjoy every minute that you're on our show.
Yeah, definitely. Whenever you want me to come back, I'll still be there. Thank you very much again for giving me this opportunity to be again with you and to share this knowledge, so that my brothers and sisters can really benefit from that and be able to live a disease-free life. Thank you.
So if you just listen to this podcast and you appreciate the content and the work that we're doing, we would love your support. Look in the comment section of this episode. Subscribe, rate us, comment. This gets our podcast in front of other listeners. And if you noticed, we don't have advertisers. For the cost of a cup of coffee, you can help keep it this way. Become a supporter right now. We'd appreciate it. I'm Jim the Yogi.
I'm Rick the BeachMan. Peace.